as I evolved my policies for London, I did a lot of research, and this one just hit me. I discovered 9,500 people die each year from air pollution in the city, and I was like, that's impossible. I couldn't believe it. But the more I researched, this was data from King's College, that Oxford Street is the most polluted street in the world, and then it hit me. There is no law in our system that allows for us to slowly poison people to death. And what I found was that the April 2015 Supreme Court judgment told government ministers to take immediate action, but they've done nothing. And clearly, we have a law called the Civil Contingencies Act of 2004, which says if the air is poisoned, leading to the death of people, we must immediately make legislation. And that just kills me. This is probably the biggest scandal of our time. And I really just want to end all fossil fuel combustion vehicles, all even power stations in this country at a later stage. But for now, for London, I think we can go to electric and hydrogen straight away because it exists.
You talk about world peace, and you're
Absolutely,
a big advocate for that,
yes.
Which is great, and that's something we all strive
Absolutely.
for. But let's bring it closer to home, the things that matter to Londoners, such as housing, for example.
Oh,
How are you going to tackle the housing crisis?
Well, you know, I co-founded the fashion brand Nicole Cost, you know, with the fashion brand Nicole Cost, and she's the next Coco Chanel. So for me, I want to build social homes. People get a bit scared when they hear this. They think more like, and I want to build high-rise social homes. They think the 60s towers. But I'm a designer as well, you know. I know something about fashion. I'm a film director. So for me, I want to make beautiful social homes based on modular skyscraper construction, where basically, with new breakthroughs in flat pack construction technology, you can build a 57-story building in 19 days. And we have 5,700 acres of land owned by TfL. The mayor, he's the head of the board of TfL, and he can give, he can give permission to any development, but we'd ask the councils where we'd build this, and we'd erect these skyscrapers.
And so where is the funding going to come from then? Are you willing to work with private investors?
Yes, so we'll have private financing. So development will be overseen, if I was mayor by me, we'd make a new corporation under the GLA, which would be owned by the city. So all the homes will be owned by the city. That means we could set regulations where no private investors could buy the homes, but we get financing. But think about it. Which bank would not want to finance a city the size of London that owns 5,700 acres of land, building low-cost homes in London when there's so much demand?
Well, many mayors have been there. Boris Johnson hasn't managed to meet the demand. The previous mayor didn't manage to meet the demands. What makes you think that you can do that?
Because I'm better, because my plan is based on a new technology that they're not incorporating. My ideas and imagination is far superior than these guys. You know?
Okay.
Come on.
Well, let's talk about stay with housing now. The IPPR, which is Institute for Public Policy Research, and the London Housing Commission says that London needs to be building 500,000 new homes in the next 10 years. So the figure is 50,000 a year. Do you agree with that? And how are you going to achieve that?
I want to build more. You know, like
more than 50,000 a year.
Yes. So I'm saying now, this might sound audacious to some people, and I can appreciate from their perspective. I want to build 1 million homes in 4 years. It's a psychological mark. Because if I can build a 57-story building in 19 days, that's the size of Canary Wharf, basically.
And okay, well, I mean, all of this sounds very interesting.
Sure.
And if anybody is sitting at home, they think 1 million homes in the next 4 years. You have touched on that. So who are the investors that you've got on board?
No, I'll get banks to finance it. I own the.
And how are you going to do that? How are you going to convince them when others haven't managed to do that?
Well, because we own the land. We own 5,700 acres of land. And if there's a project to build this building in London, how do construction companies build a building with financing? But they have to buy the land. So of course, if you're going to give low-cost homes, anybody who understands economics knows that there's a housing crisis, a huge demand for homes, and the supply is low. Well, obviously, every bank will bend over backward to finance the GLA, which is a budget of $17 billion a year. It's a no-brainer for a bank. It's a safer loan, you know.
Ankit, some big promises you're making there. Now, we've been on your manifesto. Security doesn't seem to feature very much on your manifesto. One of the things that Londoners are concerned about is security. So, following the recent terror attacks in France and also Brussels, how are you going to ensure the safety of Londoners?
Well, this city will be the safest with me, you know. I come from a royal family in Jammu and Kashmir. I'm actually the holder of the last titles of the Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir, the Emperor of Jammu and Kashmir. That might not mean much to many people, but this state has been the subject of terrorist activities since 1979. So for me, when I was born in '83, 9/11 was 24/7. So I really, really appreciate security concerns, you know. And for me, the way to mitigate this is to be very intelligent, very smart about it. We don't want to push people in ways that might make them aggressive. So from my life experience and seeing 7 terrorist organizations that operate in my home state, funded by the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, and that's why you have to kind of, there's a certain way of doing it, not to be offensive, and there's a sophisticated way, but I assure you, because of my background and the way I've grown up with this, I can ensure that city will be safest under my stewardship than anybody else.